Scoliosis Strength Collective, which is the small group scoliosis coaching. So I just wanted to talk to them a little bit just to get their perspective and their experience. And you guys can either take turns answering some of these questions, or we'll kind of go through this as you feel comfortable. So Shruti, I'll start with you. Would you mind telling me where you were with your scoliosis before we started to work together?
Yes. So I'm a dentist, and I know that the way I work, my positioning while I'm working on patients is in the direction of the curve. So I felt it was getting worse day by day, month by month, year by year. And I've been, chiropractors, I even have a brace. But I honestly felt like nothing was working because I wasn't working the muscles to correct it. I felt like in a brace, I was a Pillsbury thing. Like as soon as I took it off, I could feel myself collapsing. And I don't think like my muscles were engaging, nothing like that. And, I would have yearly x-rays done and I saw it kept getting worse, and it terrified me. I'd be in constant pain around 3:00 every day, constant pain to the point where I wanted to lay down. So by the time I got home, it was like no family time, just I need to lay down, that kind of thing. Now 6 months into it, I don't complain of pain anymore. I do not wear a brace. I could tell my muscles are getting stronger underneath. But I feel good. I feel stronger. I feel good.
That's awesome. Carolina, did you want to say anything about that question?
Yeah, so with me, I have had to deal with my scoliosis for the majority of my life. And it never quite gave me as much problems as after I got pregnant and had my baby. So it's been the last 3 years of a bit of a struggle for me, and it was a bit of a shock as well because I was quite active before. I was a Pilates instructor. As my little side hustle, I trained, I did all sorts of weird and wonderful things, and it was quite shocking to see that my body couldn't function the way that I felt it was functioning before. And so after a couple of years of being in quite a lot of pain on a daily basis, much like Shruti, for a couple of years after my baby, and having to juggle a newborn and an infant at the same time, I found Dr. Meg, and I have been doing this 6 months program, and not only have I felt the difference, I'm not pain free, but I'm much more improved. It's helped me manage on a daily basis. It's given me, I feel, the tools to be able to help myself better than I was helping myself before. And I have seen the proof in the images that you, Dr. Meg, have been able to take for me. And also, I have an acupuncturist that every now and again I see, and she has noticed a huge change in my back, the way that it looks, the way my muscles are engaging, and the way that they feel, even under her hands. And she's absolutely mind blown, and so is my mind's quite blown too. So I'm very grateful, and I'm very excited to continue to improve and hopefully be pain free and more active as we go on.
Mm-hmm. That's great. What made you decide to actually pull the trigger and sign up for the program when you were kind of contemplating? Like, what was like kind of, something that stood out to you that you felt like it was going to be something good for you? Either one of you can answer.
For me personally, at that point, I had nothing to lose. It felt very accessible as well. I remember I found you on Instagram when you were still doing, I think maybe four weeks, like a 30-minute 4-week kind of thing. And then I may have found one of your videos on YouTube or something along those lines, and it felt very accessible, something that I could fit into my otherwise extremely busy day with a toddler and an infant at the time. Time was never an issue before, but it certainly is now. And I think I find that the fact that just 20 or 30 minutes a day, which is very reachable for me, can make such a difference. And so, yeah, I had nothing to lose. So I thought, I'm going to bite the bullet and do this. You're incredibly personable. And even in that 15-minute discovery call, I just felt like we were the right fit for one another. And it's something that I could do in my house, online, whenever I could do it. Yeah, it felt right for me.
Yeah. Good.
For me, same as Caroline, I had nothing to lose. And honestly, I came across one of your videos on Instagram, and I think it was the one snow day in the last 8 years that we had. And I was sitting at home and I said, you know what, let me try this. So I got on the floor and I did it. And I felt good. I'm like, that this is something. She's got a way of explaining what to do, and I like how the body works and whatnot. And so I remember I think it was a Sunday evening. I messaged you on Instagram, and you called me Monday and you said, all right, let's talk, what's going on. And like Carolina said, I felt like you understood my situation, because you have it too, so it's not like, oh, this is what you're supposed to do. Don't you get it? You understood like how there are things like my brain doesn't understand, like how my body is supposed to move. And I just felt, I felt connected. So I said, just whatever you got, the longest course you got, that's what I need to take. So that's how I said.
I remember that conversation.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference. I mean, look, I think I've said it to you before, Dr. Meg, I don't wish this on absolutely anyone. But there's something about, I've seen people for 25 years on and off to try to improve myself and try to help get advice. But they always felt like they were from the sidelines and out, whereas you are in that pitch in here with me. And if like I feel it, I don't want you to have this. Since you do have it, you get me. And it is, even that is helpful. Yeah, it makes a giant difference to my life to have someone, in the depths of it with me who gets it. And I don't really have to explain very much to you. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah, it makes a big difference, at least. Yeah. Even when I'm learning from other people, for myself, when they have it, just the way that they talk about it, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that connects. That makes sense. Yeah. So what do you feel has been kind of like branching off of that same question, but what do you think has been a benefit of being in a small group? We're missing one of our small group people. But what do you feel has been a benefit to being in a small group versus just like a purely one-on-one type of scenario?
For me, I vent a lot at all three of you, but and all three of you listen and give feedback. But also, for example, there are a lot of things like I feel like I'm not doing right, and I'll stop and ask Carolina, or I look at what she's doing, I'll look at what Lisa's doing, and I'm like, oh, okay. So even though Dr. Meg gives very precise instructions, like we just saw, but it's when I see somebody else doing it who's got the same situation as me, the same exact curve on the same side, and we can talk about, oh, why is when I do it on the left side easier than when I do it on the right? We all are the same. And it's good to know that somebody else is with you. You're not alone in this. So yes, I feel like it's a sisterhood, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm completely with that too. It's an extension of, it's you, Dr. Meg, being in it with us, and also the girls, same sort of thing. I don't feel so alone anymore. It has been a very lonely journey for me my whole life, because people just don't get it. They just look at me like, you have a sore back, get over it. Or they go, I have a sore back too, or something along those lines. And it's like, I don't have a sore back. I have scoliosis. I have a curvature and a rotation that is, a big thing. I don't like to call it anything other than that. I don't call it a disability. I don't feel that I'm, less than anybody else. But it is something that is different in me. And it feels like having other people in this group environment, it just gives you a bit of that. Sometimes I even need courage to get through the day, because I just want to throw the towel in when I'm having a bad day. And those bad days, I know, will come and go over time. It's not, I'm never going to not have them, but that's okay now. Whereas before, I just felt alone, that no one got me, no one understood, and no one could help. But I feel that between all of you, you do. And, you say it in one of your little videos, I believe, you are a cheerleader to us, and that, you are in there. And I think the girls are exactly the same. We cheer each other on. We encourage each other to carry on through our days and improve our life. And it's, for me, I'm in Australia. That's it. I'm even further away from, how far behind we still are here in this environment. So the fact that I have this sisterhood in the US is even, more amazing. I have my US sisters, just at the drop of a hat. Like, we have our group on WhatsApp that we can reach out to, and it's been so helpful.
So what is an unexpected result that you've achieved through being in this program? So is there something that you learned or noticed about yourself that you really were kind of surprised about?
For me, it's the mind-body connection. Like, if you tell me, get down on all fours and lift your knee, at first I was looking at you like, how am I supposed to lift my knee? But, you're very patient, and, Carolina, Lisa, again, to cheer you on. And it's amazing, like, how the mind and body works. And I'm more self-conscious, like when I'm walking, when I'm standing, when I'm cooking, when I'm working, okay, let me shift my back this way, or shift, my shoulders in such a way so I feel straighter. But the biggest of all, because the scoliosis was, for me, was a very self-conscious thing, the image. I always felt like the hump, like I wear baggy clothes to hide it. Just never felt comfortable within myself. I know I have a long ways to go still, but when my son tells me, especially right after I do my little, of course, my session with you, but my daily exercises, when my son tells me, "Oh, Mom, you look straighter, that hump's gone," that means the world to me. That somebody's noticing that, okay, she looks straighter, she feels better. So
yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, I mean, it's not too dissimilar as well for me. It's I didn't think that it wouldn't have this effect, but I guess I wasn't really considering it, that I feel taller. That I'm a very small person. There's not very much of me. I'm only 5'3", but I, much like Shruti, once I'm doing my exercises on a daily basis, I feel like I'm walking taller. I could be 5'5" all of a sudden, just in my head, because I feel like I'm just more conscious of elongating. I think the awareness of what to do, not just during my exercises, but for the rest of my day. That, at the end of the day, is just my 20 or 30 minutes. It's the rest of the other, however many hours I'm awake for, that it just triggers me to hold myself upright. And, you know, going from being sort of bent sideways pretty much at the start of the program, when I looked like, as I mentioned to you, a Tower of Pisa, and now I'm so much straighter. That is just mind-blowing, and it is, you know, something that I'm so grateful for, because I didn't realize how sideways I was until I've seen photos of myself, and now I feel like I hold myself together, and therefore my body must be functioning better and the way that it was designed to function.
So last question, what would you tell someone who's on the fence about enrolling in the small group coaching?
Do it.
Oh my God, do it now, do it yesterday.
Yes. Yes.
But, you know, like I've said too, it's, you know, and you've mentioned this to me as well, Dr. Meg, you do have to then, of course, do the exercises. It doesn't work just by watching the videos, as much as we would all like to do that. You do have to do it. But we are, I think, between Shruti, at least Shruti, Lisa and I, we're living proof that it absolutely works. And it is not something that you have to kill yourself doing. It is not something that you have to devote 5 hours a day to do. I mean, if you can, fantastic. You'll probably have even faster results than me, but it's so accessible, and it works, and you'll feel better. There is no downside. No downside.
Very true. Very true.
Well, I appreciate you guys taking your time to do this with me, and I've just loved working with you and getting to know you. That's part of, you know, the group aspect. That's just so much fun, and I can't wait to see how many more results you get, getting stronger doing the next 6 months. So thanks again.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Thank you, Dr. Meg.
Thank you, Dr. Meg.